Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your astrology forecast for Monday, December 4th of 2023. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. Hopefully, you guys had a wonderful weekend. I had a good weekend, except for the fact that my favorite team got their teeth like completely kicked in last night. But hey, you can't win them all, right? But hey, I had a good weekend. Hopefully, you guys had a good weekend as well. Let's go ahead and hop into these astrological transits for today so you can be better prepared to navigate these celestial energies. Well, we got a pretty big day ahead of us. Why? Well, we have Venus that's going to be moving into a new sign. It's going to be leaving its home, its cushiony, nice home of Libra, despite the fact that the South Node was there, so she had to deal with like killing some cockroaches and shit, some things that are like, cleaning up with the cobwebs and different things that were kind of piling up, dealing with shit from the past, So her time in Libra wasn't the most comfortable, especially considering the fact that she's coming off that square to Pluto, and she opposed all the Aries energy, and when she was squared to the moon when the moon was in Cancer, and wasn't exactly the funnest time at home, but at least she was at home. Now she moves into Scorpio today. And we're definitely going to be feeling that one. So I don't know about you guys, but I felt the shift from Mercury going from Sag into Capricorn. I don't know if it's just because I have Mercury natally in Sag, so that's just like my normal energy. And when it shifted into Capricorn, I definitely felt that shift. Like it was interesting. It was like a heavier mental energy, if you will. So similarly, you and I have Venus natally in Libra, so that's going to be shifting into Scorpio. I'm sure I'm going to feel that one as well. So, but we do have that going on today. This moon, of course, is here in Virgo, and it does make some nice trines. It does make a nice trine over to Mercury, it does make a nice trine over to Jupiter. So we have like this nice grand Earth trine here. And it's interesting. The grand Earth trines compared to some of the other trines, it's sort of like it. See, whenever you get like a grand water trine, it always feels good, or a grand fire trine is very inspiring, or a grand air trine, then, I guess it's similarly kind of like it's kind of similar to the fire trines where it's inspiring, but if anything, it's just the conversations are really great. When you get the grand Earth trine, it's a little bit more subtle. It's really about recognizing, our values, our worth, recognizing the things that are working out in our life, how we are organizing things, how we are building things, but bringing all that into a very nice, harmonious way. So I think with this moon here in Virgo, making the trine over to Mercury and making the trine over to Jupiter, what's interesting about this one is the fact that Mercury is still way out of bounds, right? And it's slowing down. That's the thing about it. It's slowing down. Mercury's moving at what? Just over a degree a day. You remember, it was moving about a degree, like a degree and a half a day. And now it's moving just a degree a day, and it's still out of bounds. The moon's not out of bounds. So right now, Mercury is the only out of bounds planet. So it's, like I said, out of bounds. And then Jupiter is still retrograde in Taurus. And it's going to be retrograde through this entire holiday season. It stations direct on New Year's Eve. So this is an interesting grand Earth trine because I think it's really going to be showing us how to appreciate those things in our day-to-day life that are really working out, even though things like communication-wise or like our thoughts, because now we are more so focused on career, we're more focused on the adulting aspects of life with that Mercury and Capricorn, and that Jupiter and Taurus is wanting to, of course, expand things, wanting us to expand on our value, but it feels kind of deflating. So you have this moon in Virgo that's trying to sort all this stuff out, coming into contact, of course, with Black Moon Lilith, while a Venus is coming into Scorpio. This is a grand Earth trine that's almost like a medicine, but it doesn't necessarily taste that good. You know what I'm saying? But it'll heal your ass. That's kind of the thing about this grand Earth trine. Now, we're going to see, of course, as the moon pretty much comes on top of Black Moon Lilith, right? We're going to see Venus shift into Scorpio. And it goes from being very strong and pretty powerful in Libra to not being the strongest in Scorpio, right? And now it's being disposited by this Pluto. Whereas when it was in Libra, it's dispositing itself. It rules Libra, right? So now it's being disposited by this Pluto, right? And this is going to definitely, I'm interested to see how this really plays out. Venus and Scorpio, it doesn't like to be here. It's in its fall. Well, no, it's in its detriment here. So now we have two planets in detriment. We have Venus in detriment. We have Mercury in detriment as far as like the personal planets go. So that's not necessarily going to be the easiest energy. I mean, Uranus is technically in its fall here in Taurus, but that's more of like that. It's more of like an outer planet out there kind of energy. But with Venus shifting now into Scorpio, definitely going to be bringing up a lot of different things and situations about relationships, our commitments, intimacy issues are going to start to come up with Venus here. And, yeah, it's nice because Venus does start to trine Saturn as soon as it comes in to Scorpio. So I mean, at least we have that energy. But remember, this is still Saturn, right? So this is like, I mean, shoot, we Venus has been through the ringer, right? It freaking had its retrograde in Leo, right? It wasn't able to catch up to Mars, but it had its retrograde in Leo. Then it went into its fall in Virgo, right? Where it doesn't like to be, and it opposed Saturn and it opposed Neptune. Then it went into Libra, where you think it would be happy, but it was with the South Node, so she couldn't even like really fully enjoy being in her home sign. And now she's going into Scorpio, where she's in fucking detriment, and she has to oppose Jupiter and Uranus, right? So it's Venus has been through a lot. And that state of consciousness, Venus energy, when it comes to the way that we like to receive things in our life, and a little bit more of that feminine aspect, it's been put through the ringer, right? At least we get a nice little trine to Saturn. So it's a harmonious aspect, but what it's really going to be teaching us is that our commitments that we have in our life, shared resources with Scorpio, and even a lot of the hidden stuff, a lot of things that we may keep in the closet. Scorpios, it's the catacombs, it's the tombs. You know what I'm saying? Venus moving into this spot, and making a trine to Saturn, we got to realize that those things that we want in life, those things that we really want to build, because you got to think Scorpios. What's the third house of Scorpio? Capricorn, right? So it's like Mercury, at least to Scorpio, is in the third house, which Mercury likes to be in the third house. So it's like there's this aspect here where, now that Mercury is in the third house to Venus, we have to be wary of our thoughts and make sure that we are communicating to the universe those things that we really do want. We have to communicate them not only with our words, but through our actions primarily. And with a trine over to Saturn, which is now in the fifth house to this Venus, yeah, this is definitely going to be bringing up a lot of things about creativity, love, passion, and whether or not we can really commit to these things. And we realize that it's not just this quick fix kind of energy. It's not just like these quick little dopamine hits, but if we're wanting to actually have something that's really sustainable, and that's the thing about this. So this Venus or Scorpio is going to test some relationships, especially, I would say, newer relationships, right? I would say relationships that have been formed within like the last 6 months or so. This Venus and Scorpio will really test those relationships, because you would have to ask yourself, can you really see yourself committing to this individual? Can you really see yourself being intimate with this individual? Or were you just looking for someone to kind of just make yourself feel good throughout this time? Are you willing to commit? Are you willing to look past those little petty arguments that happen and realize that not every single argument or not every single little spat or whatever means that there's something completely wrong with the relationship and you got to throw it out, because it's not 100% catering to what you want and how you feel. But there's going to be challenges. There's going to be struggles in relationships. That is just par for the course. But there are so many people out there that the moment that things get a little bit rough, they run away. And then they'll call the other person a narcissist or whatever like that, blah, 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 blah. And it was like, why do I keep attracting narcissists? Why do I keep attracting these very codependent relationships? Well, it's time for you to look in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing about this too. All right. So, I mean, you're going to see that Venus shift today. That moon's going to continue throughout Virgo. And, we're not really going to see much else as far as that goes. I mean, we'll start to see actually that last quarter square that actually comes into fruition pretty much Monday night going into Tuesday, where we're going to be seeing that last quarter square. And of course, Neptune, we got to remember throughout all of this, is stopped. Stopped. It's not moving anymore. It's about to station direct, but it's still stopped. And we've been in this stopped Neptune energy for the better part of 4 to 5 days, right? So things already feel slow. Time has already felt very slow, right? Things feel very wavy. It kind of feels like we're just sitting in jello and we're trying to figure out where this thing is going to go. You know what I'm saying? And, this is a time where it's like, you don't have to have all the answers right now. You don't have to know exactly how this is going to turn out. I think Mercury, especially being in Capricorn, wants all those answers. It wants to know the full plot. It wants to know the full details of the story. It wants to know how we're going to find that success. It wants to know the game plan. It wants to have a game plan, right? But it's being disposited, like I said, by this Saturn, which just went direct in Pisces not too long ago, right? And it's out of bounds. So it's like, be careful of, your mind going way, way, way out there, trying to come up with some sort of game plan to fix your whole life and your status and money stuff and job and career, and thinking that you have to go way, 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 way out there. And I think this is like as our minds want to almost sort of guarantee a success before we even jump, before we even make it. Well, you already made the decision because Saturn's already direct at that 1 degree, right? So we've already made that decision. We've committed to a certain timeline for the next 29 years. I talked about that already. So we already committed to that. And Mercury almost wants to see the entirety of how that 29 years is going to play out. Now, we don't need to know all the details, right? And we also want to be careful about the details that are being presented to us in like the media and stuff too. Because how do we know that's true, right? It's so easy nowadays to fabricate the truth and fabricate details and to, be led astray, if you will. So we have to just be careful about that. So this moon in Virgo is wanting us to definitely fill out the details and want to feel more into our day-to-day life and stuff. This is a good time to maybe do some cleaning to kind of clear your thoughts and kind of clear your head. The sun is still in Sagittarius, which is positive. It's in a fire sign and wants to be inspired and motivated and wants to feel that jovial energy that Sagittarius can bring to the table. And Mars is there with it too. So it wants to act on these things. But you have to realize that, the world is shifting. Things feel a little bit weird. Things feel a little bit auspicious. We want to go on this journey and slay the dragons and stuff like that. We want to go out there and do these things, but there's still an aspect where we have to commit and we have to ask ourselves, like, are you prepared to have that intimacy with yourself and other people, but primarily yourself? Because now, like I said, this Venus is kind of coming into the Scorpio energy. It's getting ready to oppose Jupiter. And it's trying to catch up to Mars. It won't quite catch up to Mars. It won't catch up to Mars until like Aquarius season, or like right at the end of Aquarius season, going into Pisces season. I'm pretty sure that's when they finally catch up to each other. And even like speed wise, Venus is moving. It's still not moving at. It's moving faster than Mars. Venus is moving at about a degree in 10 minutes. Mars is moving at about 43 minutes. But even still, Venus is not going to catch up to Mars for a while. It's still got to go through out in the entirety of Scorpio. So I think that's the thing. It's like I think a part of us feels like we've kind of broken through and we have some ideas and we have some clarity and we're excited to move forward. And there are other parts of our consciousness that are wanting to still process what's going on and kind of go back and kind of is not quite ready to make the jump. So it's about trying to get all of ourselves on board. And you know what? It's okay. There are going to be some days where you're on it. There are going to be some days where you're just not necessarily sure. And it's actually okay. And on those days where you're not really sure, you have to meditate, pray, you know, like just do that more often. And just trust in the process. This is an exercise in trust because, like I said, we're coming into a 2024 that's going to be very, very crazy, very intense. A lot of things going to be happening. And I think we can feel that things will be better on the other side of this giant mountain, this giant ice wall, if you will, in that this new world that is being created is going to be something that is better for everybody, you know, even the people that are afraid of that new world, whether they're the ones that are controlling this current world and don't want to lose their control, or the people that are enjoying aspects of this old world and they've almost been pacified, if you will. But what's coming is going to be better for everyone. But it's something that we have to build. It's not something that's going to come automatically. It's something that we actually have to build. It's something that's going to require some blood, sweat, and tears, if I'm being honest with y'all. So let's get into the cards. All right. Let's see what we got. All right, let's see what we got for the cards for today. Yeah, we have the Hermit card, but it is in reverse, which is kind of interesting. We have the Hermit card in reverse, and of course, we do have that moon in Virgo. I'm going to draw another card because it's interesting. We have the Page of Cups. So I think what this is coming down to is that this Hermit card, obviously, you know, it's a moment where we kind of want to kind of keep some things to ourselves, and we have to ask ourselves, what are we keeping to ourselves? But this Page of Cups in reverse, it's like, yeah, we're not going to exactly feel like it today. We may not necessarily feel like doing things today. We may not necessarily feel like going out. We may not necessarily feel like doing the work. We may not necessarily feel like committing. But this is a day where we have to kind of overcome that. I'm not going to lie, and just kind of get down and just do it. You know what I mean? You're not always going to feel like doing those things. You're not always going to feel like doing the work. You're not always going to want to feel like, you know, embarking on that quest or that journey and stuff like that, you know. And this is a time where it's like we really have to just kind of, it's going to sound bad, suck it up and kind of just get on with the program. You know what I mean? So it's like, I know that sounds pretty bad, and a lot of people just hate those kind of terms, like suck it up and pull yourself up. But this is a time where it's like, if we like overly listen to our emotions, then we really don't really get too far. You know, I think there's a way to acknowledge the way that you feel, but we also have to realize that emotions are fleeting. They're not going to last forever. You know what I mean? I'm gonna cut the deck because I think this is pretty interesting energies for today. Because that Hermit card in reverse is like, it's almost like we want to shut in, but we're not being allowed to because we don't feel like doing it. We don't feel like going out and connecting. We don't feel like going out and being the star in our own life. But it's like we want to like sit on the sidelines, or we want someone to just kind of give it to us, but we actually have to go out there and do it. You know what I'm saying? We have, yeah, we have the Queen of Wands also in reverse. So whenever I see all reverse cards, you usually can read it both ways. Um, you can read it upside, or you can read it this downside as well. But the Queen of Wands as like the clarity card here, yeah, I think we're wanting to feel inspired, we're wanting to feel motivated, and it's going to come from within. It's not something that's going to be coming from the outside. This is about motivating ourselves to do the things that we know we need to do. And like I said, we're not necessarily always going to want to feel like doing those things, but we have to do it. Like for example, for me, like I told myself the other day, it's like if I don't write every day, I'm going to end up restarting every single time that I start writing, unless like I read what I wrote, because I usually don't do that. Whenever I start like a writing project, a lot of times I won't read it. Like and then like it'll go like several days, maybe a week or so, and I come back to it, and then the idea is gone, like the energy is gone. And it's like sometimes I do have to force myself in those moments to just do it anyways, whether or not I'm feeling it. But I think for me it's simply about just write something every single day. You know what I mean? So, and I don't necessarily want to do that, even though I do enjoy writing or aspects of the creative process, but I don't necessarily want to do that. You know what I mean? So with the Hermit card and the Page of Cups here, reverse, yeah, we may not necessarily feel like going out there. We may not necessarily feel like connecting with people. We may just want to just kind of clam up and be at home on the couch, or wrapped up in a blanket and watching TV or reading a book or something. But we got to engage with the world around us. You know what I mean? And I think so many people are finding themselves with a lot of social anxiety, and they're depressed because they don't want to engage with the world around them, because they lack the intimacy with life itself, because they're afraid to commit fully to life and living life to the fullest. But you can do that, beloved. I believe in you. You can do that. So that is going to do it for your astrology forecast today. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. If you'd like to have a personal reading with me, beloved, you can follow the link in the description below to my website, jphoenix.com. And as always, y'all take care, stay blessed, have a wonderful Monday. I will see you guys on the next astrology forecast. Peace.